Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this beautiful picnic day. Who ordered the good weather? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I'm Reverend Ben. I'm your associate minister here, and it's my privilege to welcome you both in the house and online once again to CSL. You know, here at CSL, we have 7 core values that help to guide everything we do. Those core values are love, healing, oneness, abundance, spiritual growth, service, and diversity. And this week we're focusing in on diversity. You know, in my life I've had the privilege of traveling internationally a little bit, and a few years ago I managed to get to Toronto, Canada. And what I didn't know about Toronto is that it has actually been declared the most diverse city on the planet. The motto of Toronto is diversity is strength. And they truly live that motto. In one afternoon there, my wife and I heard at least 3 different languages being spoken. We saw people of all different colors and ways of dress and modes of expressing, just living their lives as part of this beautiful tapestry of diversity. The most amazing thing about that experience for me, though, is that wherever I've gone in the world, whenever I've traveled, I've always been a tourist, somebody separate, apart from, an outsider to a certain degree. And yet, in Toronto, with so much diversity and so much acceptance, I didn't quite feel like an outsider. I felt just like another thread in the fabric of that diversity. And that's one of the reasons why we value diversity here so much. You see, it turns out that the more space you make for everybody else, the more room there is for yourself as well. So whether we're talking about this spiritual community, your family, or just within your own consciousness, make as much space as you can for as much diversity as you can, and in so doing, find unlimited freedom for the magnificence that you are to live and express and to share that light with the world. I'm thrilled to do that with you here in this diverse space, as together we bring more of that magnificence into our experience. Enjoy this week exploring diversity. Namaste. Thank you.
If you weren't here last week or you weren't watching online, then you missed my vocal debut. Yes, it was quite fabulous. We were talking about survival, and I got to sing the first few notes of I Will Survive, and it was precious. It was all so precious. Thank God everything was captured on tape, so you can relive it anytime you choose. Most of you were actually impressed that I could even hold a tune, carry a note, and I want you to know that I have many hidden talents you don't know about. In fact, in our dream team meeting this week, someone asked me what I was going to do this Sunday to sort of top my performance last week, and I said, well, of course, I'll do my interpretive dance. Yes, I've been practicing the dance of the 7 veils for so long. And when I told my very Jewish friend, Michael Blank, who's not here today, but he's watching from Jersey. Hi, Michael, how are you? When I told him what I was going to do, he said, oh, no, I want to do it with you. He suggested that we do it together and call it the Dance of the 7 Shmatas. Yes. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We might actually have another CSL's Got Talent show this summer, and Michael and I will be doing the Dance of the 7 Shmatas. If you are here for the very first time today, you must know I'm kidding. Please, do not worry. This white boy is not going to dance. But I am going to tell you a story. And this story comes from a Peace Corps worker who came back from Nigeria about 10 years ago. And it's about what happened to his best friend named Kufa. And Kufa lived in a small village, but he had an appointment to make in Lagos. And Lagos is a city of 14 million people in Nigeria, hundreds of miles away. So he asked his driver one day to take him to Lagos, and it was in the late afternoon. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem, but in Nigeria, it's not safe to travel certain places at night, especially way out in the boonies where bandits will literally cut your throat and steal your car. Nonetheless, they set out on this 6-hour drive with plans to make it there by dusk. So no worries, they won't be traveling at night. They won't have to risk their lives. So what happened is a few hours into the drive, just in front of them, a truck rammed into another car. So Kufa and his driver get out of their car to see what happens. Well, the truck driver keeps driving. He just drives on and doesn't pay any attention to what happened. But the guy that got hit in the car is hurt, and he's hurt bad. He suffered a broken shoulder, and he's got cuts on his body. And when Kufa saw the man laying there in the car, he knew that he needed to do something. He needed to take some action, but he was too afraid to move him. So what they did is they made the man as comfortable as they possibly could in his car, and then they drove to the next town to get help. Well, the next town happened to be an hour away. Now, all of us are so accustomed to living in this first world country in America that it is hard for us to imagine life in a third world country, a developing world country like Nigeria. So it will surprise you to know that when Kufa made it all the way to the next town an hour away and finally found the hospital there, the hospital didn't have an ambulance and they didn't have any doctors. The doctors weren't coming back for 3 days. So now Kufa is faced with this moral dilemma. What to do about this man an hour away, sitting off the side of the road in his car with a broken shoulder and bleeding. So if he goes back to him, he won't make it to Lagos before nightfall, and his own life will be in danger from the bandits. But if he doesn't go back, then what? I mean, how will he feel having abandoned this guy off the side of the road? So he tells himself, this little voice inside his head starts to tell him things like, maybe somebody else will come along. I mean, it's a well-trafficked road. Somebody else is probably going to see the guy off the side of the road and they'll help them. And he tells himself, besides, if I go back now and try to save the guy, what am I going to do? Where am I going to take him? I mean, I can't take him to the hospital an hour away. There's no doctors. So finally he makes his decision, and in his own words, as he tells the story to his friend many years later, he says, I am ashamed to tell you that I left that man on the side of the road. And even though it has been years ago, it has haunted me, and I have regretted it every day of my life. Now, it's easy to sit here in our comfortable lives with all of our modern conveniences and tell ourselves a different story and say, I wouldn't have done that. That wouldn't have been me. I would have gone back and got the guy. I would have never left him there. But are you sure? How many times have you done the same thing that we all do? Leave it to someone else to handle. Telling yourself, that's not my problem. It's not my problem. I don't want to get involved. How many times have you seen an injustice toward others and not said anything and not done anything? Complacency is what destroys us. It leaves us like Kufa with a life of regrets, with pain in our hearts that we made the choice that all cowards make. Fear. We choose fear over doing the right thing. And I get it. I know life is risky. I really do understand this. I am not standing up here on some moral high horse. I'm not telling you that doing the right thing is the easy thing to do. In fact, I have never known it to be in my whole life. Doing the right thing is never the easy thing to do. It is always the hard thing to do. It is hard to stand up for yourself when someone treats you poorly. It's hard to say, you know what, you don't get to treat me that way anymore. It's hard to take a stand for the rights and the respect of others when your own aren't being threatened. But honestly, who are you as a person if you don't? And who are we as a people, as a country, if we don't stand up to injustice? You see, if it was wrong, if it was dead wrong to house immigrant children in cages when Trump was president, isn't it equally wrong now when Biden is? You see, moral issues aren't political. They're not about who's in the White House. They're about courage and honor and compassion. Emerson said, God will not have his work made manifest by cowards. We have to summon our courage. We have to take responsibility for ourselves, our own choices, and for caring for the lives of the people around us. We have to find it within ourselves to stand up for what we believe in as a person, as a people, as a nation. In other words, we're not doing anything worthwhile in life, but just taking up space. In our book of the month, Creativity, Spirituality, and Making a Buck, the author wrote, accountability is a matter of ethics, genuine pride, and personal authenticity. Own yourself fully and what's right to do in the world. Be a man of courage. Be a woman of honor. It's the only way you will be able to live regret-free in your life. When I first came to Fort Lauderdale 4 years ago, a young man came up to me coming out of a 12-step meeting. And he said, you know, there's only 2 kinds of gay men in Fort Lauderdale. And I said, really? And he said, yes, the kind that's in recovery and the kind that needs to be. Okay, it's good to know. I know there are a lot of people here today and in our centers across the world who are in 12-step programs, who are in recovery from some kind of addiction. And you know what? I have to be honest with you. I'm surprised I'm not. I am very surprised that I'm not an addict because I am completely surrounded by it in my family. It has affected and infected just about every member of my family for generations. My grandfather, my mother, my brother, my niece, my nephew, some of their children, all addicts. My sister and I wonder sometimes how we manage to escape the great challenge that addicts face. The challenge of integrity and honesty and authenticity. I happen to believe, like all paths, that addiction is a valid path to enlightenment. It's a valid path. It's certainly a rough one. It's a hard road to travel. But on that path, as you go through hell, you will find heaven on the other side of it. Most addicts that I have known share one thing in common. They are deeply scripted in victim consciousness. Nothing is ever their fault when they're using. It's someone or something else that's causing all of their problems. They don't take responsibility for their own lives. They blame others and make excuses so they can continue using. And that's not a condemnation of them, it's a symptom of their disease. Addicts don't take responsibility because that's how children act. That's how spiritually and psychologically immature people act. They say, I didn't do it, he did it. It's not my fault, it's her fault, she's the one. You see, addiction traps you in childhood. You stop maturing when you are using. You don't take responsibility for your own life. That's part of the disease, and that's why the healing of the disease comes from holding yourself fully accountable for your actions and for all of your choices. The healing of addiction is to own up to who you are, to claim your own power and authority to create your own life, and to continue to make that choice every single day of your life, one day at a time. You always hear spiritually immature people say, oh, I don't want to ever grow up. I don't want to be an adult. That's no fun. But taking responsibility for your life isn't a burden, it's empowering. It's empowering because it means, as God as your witness, you will never, ever, ever be a victim again. It puts you back in the driver's seat in life, which, by the way, is where you belong, instead of just being a passenger, riding along in someone else's story, going wherever it is they take you. We all have our own journeys and our own stories to tell about our road to enlightenment. Like Kufa in our story today, I faced a moral challenge or dilemma of my own at the Publix grocery store on Oakland Park Boulevard in Oakland Park about a year ago. You can face all kinds of moral dilemmas at the Publix grocery store, I guess, but on this day, I've got my few items. I didn't have a cart, so I'm holding a bunch of items, and I'm heading toward the checkout, and I see this old Haitian lady, and she literally runs in front of me. To get in front of me, she practically pushed me out of the way. And I was so shocked that this happened, I stand back, and I'm like, how rude can this be? And standing right behind her is a young boy that looks about, 13 or 14 years old, probably her grandson. And so I'm standing there, and I'm so shocked at this act of rudeness that I couldn't control my mouth. And so I stepped back, and I asked her a question. I said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Is this how you want to behave in front of your grandson? Are you sure you want to teach him that this is appropriate behavior? And she gave me a very dirty look. And she did not say a word, probably to her credit, and she held her ground. And I stepped back and I said, "Take it. It's your space." Now, you know that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to slap the happy right off her face. That's what I wanted to do. But sometimes I don't act, which is good, and then because I see the newspaper headline roll across my face, senior minister at CSL attacks old Haitian lady at Publix grocery store. So needless to say, I did not do a thing. I let it go. Let it go. But here's the thing. She didn't need me to tell her she was doing the wrong thing. She knew it. Just like Kufa knew it when he left that guy off the side of the road with the broken shoulder. You see, in our hearts, in our own hearts, we always know when we've done the wrong thing. We always know. When I was a kid, I used to love Superman cartoons. And when Christopher Reeve played him on the big screen in 1978 in that first movie, I was like, I'm rushing out to see it. And it wasn't just because Christopher Reeve is in blue tights. Although it was a draw. It's actually the character of Superman that I love because you know what? You always knew where he stood. There was never a question of Superman's morality. He always made the right choice. He always did the right thing, no matter what the challenge, no matter what the odds were against him. We all know what Superman's moral code is. You know what it is. It's truth, justice, and the American way. So now my question is, what is your moral code? What do you stand for? What are you willing to use all of the power you possess in this world to have happen for you and the people you love and the people you don't? I've been thinking about this for myself this week because as I was preparing this lesson, I thought, well, I probably should come up with an answer for me. And if I were to put it in three things, perhaps maybe even in this order, I would say my moral code is wisdom, love, and living well. On my gravestone, I want it to be written, he lived well and taught others to do the same. I think you honor your Creator and fulfill your purpose in life when you're living well. And you live well when you are living free. Free from the burden of past regrets. Free from the pain of unhealed wounds. And free from the fear of not being good enough. I find it really interesting that Superman was disguised in real life, that he had to hide his truth and his power behind this mask of the mild-mannered Clark Kent. You know, it's a metaphor, because there's part of us that sort of just goes along with the status quo, that in a mild-mannered way just accepts whatever comes along. I'll get up tomorrow and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm just a wanderer through life. But underneath the bland clothes and the boring life that nobody knows about is Superman. Beneath the mask of the mild-mannered, quiet, timid, shy, unspoken woman is Wonder Woman. That's the real you that has the power to change not just your life, but change this world. Be that man. Be that woman. Honor your truth. Stand up for what you believe in. Take full responsibility for the quality of creating your own life. Be as God has made you to be, a full partner in the creative process. And while you're at it, according to me, you might as well live well too. And so ends the lesson. You're very kind. For me, the thing that changes everything is my connection to Spirit. I can read a lot of books, I can take a lot of classes, I can listen to a lot of podcasts, but the thing that changes everything for me is my connection to love, to Spirit. And that's not something anybody can do for you. You have to do that by yourself and for yourself. This is the time in our service when we do that together. Let's be still and close our eyes.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within. When I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find. Spirit meets me there. Spirit meets me there.
There's a reason that our heart knows when we've done something wrong. There's a reason that Kufa regretted the choice he made so many years ago. The reason is we're all connected. What we do to another, we do to ourselves. When we withhold our love for them, we withhold our own love and the capacity to receive it from others. Spirit, the creator and sustainer of all life in the universe, is animating itself through individual bodies. You and I are those bodies, individualized essence of God, Spirit of life and love. And all the good that we seek outside of ourselves is really here, within. The kingdom of heaven is within. The highest possible good you could imagine is within. Let's see if we can connect with it now. Let's see if we can anchor our soul in love. Let's be still. "60 seconds. It was just a minute. 1 minute of time of silence in a crazy, chaotic, noisy world. If you will keep your date with Spirit every day, if you will find your way back to peace and love, your life on the outside will change. And all the things you work so hard to get to happen will become so much easier. Don't fight. Don't work hard. Don't argue. Don't make. Don't force. Invite. Be open. Be still and know. And you will find your way to wellness again. And so it is. We close our service as we do everything at CSL because it's the thing that changes everything else with prayer. You have an affirmation card that was on your chair today, and if yours is like mine, it says the same thing. Let's say it aloud together, shall we? I am not a victim of circumstance. I am a creator of ideas. Let's know this truth. We are placed in a place of power. We have been created in the image and likeness of perfection and wholeness. We come from the power generated to cause a universe with billions of lives on a planet. The life that is living inside of us, that circulates our blood, that builds our bones, that animates our body, is the life of God. It has come into this body to experience and express itself in a unique way that never is again repeated in all of time and history. We did not come here to suffer consequences or to be a victim of anything. We came here to rise up as one woman who knew how to live well, as one man who found his worth. We are the right people in the right place at exactly the right time to heal our lives and to change the world. And that's what we're going to do. And so it is. We'll see you again next week here at the same time, the same channel on Facebook Live, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, have an incredible week.
Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting CSL. If you'd like to know more about us, check us out on our website or social media. Blessings.